Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request from the Altar of Madness. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. He does a lot of music videos on his channel. I've reacted to a couple of them on the channel. Thank you so much again for those requests. I really appreciate it. So he has a new one called The Frayed Ends of Sanity by Metallica, which is a music video on the wrestler Chris Benoit. Now, one thing to note is that, at least at this point, he uploaded the music video and it got blocked. Might have been from WWE, but he does have it on his Rumble, which I will put that in the comment section, or I should say in the info box. Better yet, put it in the info box, so if you want to give it a watch, I'll have it in there. Feel free to click on it and follow along with me. And this is why, sadly, I don't put music videos and stuff in my videos. A lot of times people go, well, wait a minute, how come you don't show the music video? How come you don't show the clips or don't show the song? Because they could be uploaded. And this was up on YouTube at one point because I saw it on there and I downloaded it before they hit them. So it was up for a bit. And then within a day, or it could be a week, or it could be a month, it could be 5 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 2 years. All of a sudden they go, we changed our mind. Nah, you're blocked. Or this and that. And because YouTube is hypocritical. Now, I say YouTube, it's the company who owns the production and who owns the music or owns the footage. But at the same time, it's like YouTube doesn't want to fight for its consumers. It's people who use the platform. It's just they'll bend the knee anytime in any shape they want. And there'll be people that will show an entire match. Like, I bet if I sit here, and I don't know if it was the music or I don't know if it was the WWE. Either way, if it's Metallica, I can find that song anyway, anytime. If it was because of Chris Benoit, there are people that have done an hour-long true crime documentary. His last entrance ever in ECW. If I say match, I bet I could find a whole playlist of Chris Benoit matches. Versus William Regal, versus Six, versus Chavo Guerrero, versus Triple H, versus Eddie Guerrero, right here on YouTube. So why is it that they're allowed, but then other people are not? So just, again, you say it's not YouTube, it's whoever owns it, but still, it's all hypocritical. That's why I don't put footage in, sadly. But anyway, I know I'm 3 minutes in. He wanted to ask my opinion on the wrestler, but I'll do that after the video. So it's 7 minutes and 52 seconds. I'm paused at the beginning. The full title is The Frayed Ends of Sanity by Metallica, about Chris Benoit. And again, I'm paused at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Actually, it didn't play. Okay, that's great. Let me try this one more time. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. There we go. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5. Yep, passed away in 2007. Because of a variety of circumstances, which I'll get to later. Metallica, great band, love the band. Interesting to see his early days here, where he had a bit of a, almost like an USA mask on. Obviously here, now we've gone to the early days of WCW. That flying headbutt, man. But if ECW, very early matches and stages of Benoit. ECW was a crazy place. Like there's Sabu he's fighting against. Ooh, landed right on the guy's head. That flying headbutt, I never liked that move. Never did. I always thought it was like too dangerous of a move. It felt like it hurt him more than the opponent. The Four Horsemen, Brian Pillman, who's no longer with us, Arn Anderson. Now showing clips of him in WCW. I would say he was a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler, to be fair. Who took the chair shot right to the head. Was it a Kevin Sullivan he's fighting? Which I definitely know there was some friction between Benoit and Sullivan because wasn't like Benoit was with Sullivan's wife or girlfriend or something? Something like that. Could be wrong. Of course, here they have their rivalry throughout WCW, going to the bathroom there. We saw a bit of Conan there. I mean, wrestling back to the day, I would watch videotapes of Hulk Hogan, or my aunt would send us tapes of like, here's an era of Repo Man, Razor Ramon, things of that nature. But I didn't watch a lot of older WCW. I probably saw a bit during the Monday Night Wars, where you go back from WCW to WWF in the 1998-99 era. Maybe a little bit of 2000, that era. But I mean, Benoit, he definitely had the intensity. He had the steals. He definitely knew how to wrestle. He has this quiet demeanor to him. Definitely seemed like a guy you didn't want to mess with. Is this with, yep, Eddie Guerrero, who's no longer with us. I miss Eddie Guerrero, very talented wrestler. I would say I like Eddie Guerrero more as a wrestler, but you see these moves, I mean, Benoit's pulling these moves off very well, and Guerrero's selling them. Like you see, here's a collage of their matches. They did work so well together. That's why WCW was at Disney MGM Studios for a while, that's right. But yeah, look at that arm drag. Just fantastic arm drag. So quick and fast, and they're on point with each other. Ooh, nice knee to the back. Or throwing the... And then Benoit pulling the hair back. Suplex off the top rope. Up reverso of Eddie Guerrero from the suplex to do a chokehold, but then Benoit pulls him down to get him in the submission hold, I should say. And then this series of diving headbutts. Look how he's landing. He's landing on bells. He's landing on chairs. That head definitely hit the railing over and over again. Damn, right to the head. His head's bleeding. What the hell was that? Was that Goldberg? I don't know who that was. That looked like Goldberg, who couldn't get him up and had him fall on his fucking head. Now we see a little bit of his WWE. I never liked that diving head, but it just never made sense as a finishing move. Again, it felt like it hurt him as much as the opponent. See, so many times, like, his head's bleeding there. Now you say maybe he put his hand up and he bladed a bit, but if it didn't, I wouldn't be surprised. And that's the thing in this era, like Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit, who worked together for a while, were friends. They were going to be like the new princes of wrestling. The Rock was going to go into Hollywood. Steve Austin, because of his neck injury, going to retire. With this new era, Guerrero and Benoit, I think, would have, if things had worked out. There's the Royal Rumble he won, which now they want to act like doesn't exist. Same with this WrestleMania. He won at WrestleMania. Now people want to act like this didn't exist, and it did. Great heartfelt moment between Guerrero and Benoit hugging. And then Eddie Guerrero's death and the way Benoit took it. Very saddened to hear about Guerrero. It seems a bit weird having this in the video because it's called The Frayed Ends of Sanity, and sadly that's very truthful, which I'm sure is the point of why it was put in, but just him crying over Eddie's death. There's Dean Malenko with Benoit. But I mean, it's still part of what happened. It's still part of oh god, the WWF version of ECW. That was a train wreck. Yeah, now that Guerrero passed away, it's like, well, we got Benoit, and he's the tough badass that we could root for. I forgot he went up against CM Punk. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, CM Punk was in ECW, yeah. Mm. Very sad way to end that. I mean, I do like the song. It was nice to see the footage of Benoit in terms of his abilities as a wrestler. He's very talented. He did work very well with Eddie Guerrero. My thoughts on Chris Benoit, despite all that I said about him, what he did, I don't think anyone condones what he did. Of course they would not, unless you're just an evil human being. I just see what people feel that. I know there's all these conspiracy theories about what happened with Chris Benoit and that he didn't really do it and someone else did these things. It was Kevin Sullivan, or if it was someone else, it was. I don't know, like all these conspiracies. I don't buy any of that. I'm sorry. I do not buy any of those conspiracy theories. Not one iota, not one bit. I think what happened was simple in his sadness and his tragedy. You had a guy who pushed his wrestling ability too far. In an era where concussions were kind of brushed away. Concussions were not taken as seriously as they should have been. There's many times that you will hear about football players that because of the series of concussions, they do crazy things, weird things, things that don't make sense. How could they do that? Because it is brain damage. That's what happens when your brain is like a computer. Your brain is a computer for your body. Think of your computer. If your computer has a virus, if your computer is haywire, it'll do whatever it wants. You can't get on this, it'll flicker or do all this other stuff, and at the end of the day, you have to shut it down, and you can't deal with it anymore because it will not work again. Now, of course, a human being is different where you have to realize that's what's going on. You have to get them help, whether you have to put them in a home or if the family wants to take care of them 24/7, that's their choice. That's what happened. You had a guy who you would see, even in this video, getting hit on the head multiple times with chairs, dropped on head by other wrestlers, the diving headbutt, where you're doing this thing where you're bouncing And if your head does not hit the mat, the whiplash, the pressure of hitting that mat face first, which is not how you're supposed to. That's why most of the time you're supposed to on your back. The each time could be like a car crash. Each time he landed could have been the fourth of a car crash, or at least close to it. And you do that again and again and again, and if it does hit the railing, if it does hit a chair, if it does hit a bell, if it hits someone on the bone, on their body, or hard muscle, that's sensitive. It's not meant for that. On a repeated basis, for how many days a year? You're doing it in every other match. Or at least some kind of head thing. And people, well, what about other wrestlers? How come they didn't deal with it? Who says they haven't? How many wrestlers have gone through the crazy, weird development that you go, what the hell happened to this person? That could be the case. And people don't associate with it. You know, many wrestlers die young. Granted, not all from this, but I mean, it doesn't help. Wrestlers that seem to go crazy, or they don't think right, or they don't remember things right, because they're doing something that a body's not meant to do on such a repeated basis. Again, football players, which have a lot more protection than wrestlers, a lot of things have happened with them. Don't believe me? Look it up for yourself. What happened with this guy is he had the mind of a 90-year-old Alzheimer patient. That means you're not thinking with any level of sanity or logic anymore. He's withdrawn. He's not thinking clearly. He could open the door and think a fucking unicorn standing in front of him, and he would go, oh, wow, and think it was real. If your brain is that far gone, you just see this, you may think this is blood, and you're a fucking vampire. You don't know what you're thinking in your state of mind. You don't. You just don't. And he went home, and he had a wife, a kid. I think the other kid, he was away because he does have a son who wants to get in the wrestling business, and I think he wanted to use his dad's name, but nah, that's not. If he does get in the business, it'd probably be a different name. But he thought they were one thing. He thought he was doing one thing. I don't think he was not in sound mind. He was not in sound mind. And I know it may seem like a cop-out to say the insanity plea, the insanity defense, but you could make a good case for this. I think, because I wasn't there, of course, so I can only say I think, he visualized something that wasn't there. He heard stuff that wasn't there. He saw stuff that he thought was real and wasn't there. And of course it doesn't make sense, because that's what insanity is. His development became an insane bit of business where he did things that he normally would not have done. And he did kill his wife. He did kill his kid. And whether his plan all along was that he felt like he was forced to do this and this is part of the plan, or there was a hint of recognition of what he did, oh my God, and I'm not dealing with this life anymore, or whatever the case may be, because again, I wasn't there. People could have their theories, people could have their guesses, but what he did was an evil thing. And no disrespect to people that believe in conspiracies and stuff, I don't. I do think there's a tendency of people that if they like someone, they think, no, it can't be the case. There has to be something else to it. There's gotta be something else to it. There's gotta be some kind of other motive. There's gotta be some kind of other something going on. Some boogeyman behind the scenes. I'm not saying that's never the case. I do think JFK, I think there's something to that. I don't know what details, but I do think there's something fishy about that. And then some. Absolutely. But not everything is conspiracy. That's where I'm at. Are there some conspiracies that have a factual theme? Or like a good merit, a good stepping stone to be introduced to? Yes. But I don't think everything is. And I think this is one of those cases where there wasn't some big conspiracy. It was just a guy, mind literally broken, did horrible things, ended his life, and then they were done. And that will forever be his legacy now. And I can't blame... Well, I can blame WWE, because here's the thing. There should be a talking point of education. Education about concussions. Education about brain damage. Education about mental health. And yes, we're going to show this because there's other people involved. Unless, like, the family of the wife and the kids say, no, never show anything again. I can't really disagree if they say so. If they say no, oh, I can understand. But if they didn't, then WWE... I mean, you show, like, Jimmy Snuka. He did horrible things. There's other wrestlers you could point to that did horrible things. And you probably still show some of those matches on... Well, they don't have the network anymore, but... They'll mention Roddy Piper with the coconut and Jimmy Snuka. And Jimmy Snuka, I think, more than likely we all believe that he killed his girlfriend. And it was covered up. But that's fine. I think you should... If the family is fine with it, you should be able to show the WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble and explain. Actually talk about it. Don't be a coward. Have the conversation. We enjoyed who he was, not who he became. Because of mental disorder. Because of insanity. Because of mental breakdown. Because of brain damage. Let's say you know who I am, right? Tomorrow I went to the mail, a car hit me, I hit my head, and now my brain is completely screwed up. 2 months later, you see a story of me doing something horrible in a store, a grocery store. What I did was horrible and terrible. But Sally, if the brain is that dysfunction that you're not you anymore, that's not who I was. But I can't blame people thinking of that forever because it's such a horrible incident. I can't blame people for hating Benoit. I can understand why it's not brought up. But I do think that if you really are responsible, if you really want to be in this, we need to educate people, then do it. Then do it. Again, unless the family is very honed in on, please don't ever, then again, I can't really fault them because they lost loved ones that, I, at least right now, thankfully, never experienced, especially it's to that level. That someone they knew did it to two of their loved ones. And I can't imagine what Benoit's son, who's alive, feels about that. That had to have fucked with them tremendously. That's why it bothers my mind he wants to be in wrestling. I would think I'd be far away from that. But I don't know. I can understand appreciating the wrestler and his physical abilities and his matches and his matches with Eddie Guerrero, and you could enjoy those matches. But again, no one condones what he did. If you want to say that he didn't kill his wife and kid, this is where we totally disagree. And totally disagree. We're on far ends. I think he did it. It was sad. It was tragic. And I think his mind was just completely malfunctioned. Completely too far gone to go get that too far gone. Were steroids a part of it? I don't think they helped. I don't think that was the main reason, and that was the thing that kept brought. I remember that was brought up when it was revealed what happened, and wrestlers were interviewed, and all they talked about was the roids, the steroids, and I'm like, the concussions are first and foremost. Your brain being a 90-year-old Alzheimer's patient is first and foremost. I don't think the steroids helped, though. I don't think they helped the matter. Great wrestler, intense, great movesets, had solid matches, tragic ending, especially for his wife and especially for his son. Because no matter what I say about this guy, those two were the completely innocent victims. And that's the most tragic part is that. One big bummer. So, that's my thoughts on it. Take care. It is one of the most tragic bits in wrestling history ever. Easily. Owen Hart falling and dying. This stuff. What you hear about Ashley Mazzaro and what happened there. A lot of terrible stuff. I mean, hell, they have a whole show called Dark Side of the Ring, which I've seen episodes of that and have enjoyed, because they're very intriguing. But definitely tough thing to think about. But that's the reality. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. So thanks once again to Ultra Madness. If you want to check out his video, again, it's on Rumble. The links are down in the info box. And we will see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.